Your friend or family member is a cosplayer. Would you buy them as a gift? Well, with the holidays creeping up around the corner, here is a little gift guide which you could link to your friend or family as a cosplayer. Or if you're a friend or family member doing research, that is very cute. But just before we start this list, I would really appreciate if you guys could check out my socials and my Patreon. I post a lot of extra cosplay content over there. So without further ado, let's get into 25 or more gift ideas for cosplayers. Let's start off with some more budget-friendly ideas. So a really thoughtful idea that can be put to any budget you desire is a little hamper, which is particularly good for anyone that's starting out in the hobby or the crafting side of the hobby. So for any cosplayers that are looking to start out crafting and creating their own costumes, you could get a little sewing kit with needles, pins, bobbins, all that kind of thing. A seam ripper is a really handy tool for anyone that's starting to learn how to adjust their costumes. Some coloured threads are always handy because you always want to match the threads to your fabrics, and buying lots of different threads can really add up in price. Fabric scissors are a must, and only use them on fabric. Another useful tool that you could throw in this hamper is a glue gun, because you can use that for multiple things. Foam work, wigs, if you can't be bothered to sew when you're on a crunch, you can hot glue your cosplays. You can also put in some poppers or fasteners, different ways to add little attachments to your cosplay. The kind of things that people don't get excited to buy, but they're gonna need it. Like, if you're going cosplay shopping, you want to get all the fun fabric, but then you remember you've got a budget for poppers and zippers and threads and new needles. It's like, oh, that's another 20 quid. I don't want to make this cosplay anymore. So yeah, all those little things are really handy to start out with. But if the person you're buying for is more of a crafter and they like making props, so you could start out with a glue gun, a variety of acrylic paints, but I would recommend getting some high quality ones instead of a set of like 50 colours and they're all not very good. You could just get like a solid opaque white and black goes a long way. You could either just get like 2 big tubs of that, because those will always be used in props 100%, but you could get a high quality set of like 5, maybe some primary colours, a white and black, some EVA foam, maybe contact cement. Some fresh paintbrushes are also really lovely to get, because that's something that we don't want to buy ourselves, but we're gonna need it. There's nothing worse than wanting to do details and you've got this crusty old floppy brush and it's like, oh, it's all I've got. Foam clay is also really handy, and it's something that a lot of cosplayers just haven't delved into yet. It's really cheap and it's really fun to work with. For people in the UK, you can get a pack of foam clay for £1 at Hobbycraft. You could get some carving tools and maybe some googly eyes, because it sounds really weird, but they're really good for adding little details on foam work. Say if you're doing like a prop that is pretending to look like metal or like a shield or something, and you want to add like a little thing that looks like a screw, you can just stick on a painted googly eye and it's really lightweight and they look really, really detailed. And maybe some warbler, like a little sheet of warbler, that can go a long way. Or is the person you're buying for wanting to get into wig styling? Well, you can always start off with a can of Got To Be glued hairspray. That is the GOAT. Everyone loves Got To Be. Not sponsored, I just love it. Yoo-hoo glue, or whatever it's called, is the UK glue for wigs. I'm not really sure about the equivalents in other countries, but that's really good for adding glued hairlines. It's really strong. Some pins specifically for wig styling. I know you can use like T-pin wig brush or a teasing comb or any specific kind of brush that they might need for their next project. A new wig styling head, whether it's just like a styrofoam one or like a big fancy one, or you could throw in like a base wig of a cosplay that you know they're gonna want to do in the future. But moving away from the hamper idea, here are just some other budget ideas. You get a big set of good quality acrylic paint. Please do a little bit of research, because it's so easy to like fall into the trap of like really cheap ones that just look fancy. Maybe ask around or go to your local craft shop and see what people there recommend. Like I said, an opaque white and an opaque black go a really long way with crafting. This one isn't for younger cosplayers, but for older cosplayers you could get them a cutting mat with a rotary tool and a scalpel. This can be really handy for cutting fabric if you're wanting more of a precise cut without fabric scissors. And the cutting knife, or they have specific ones that you can use for foam craft, like that kind of thing. This tool is probably one of my favorites that I own, and it's a portable steamer, because it can be used to take to cons in your little suitcase, because it's small and you can steam your cosplays at the con. Make sure it's all nice. You don't have to worry on hotel irons or using irons in general because I've had moments where I've ironed a cosplay and I didn't realise the iron was too hot and the cosplay was made of cheap synthetic fabric and I burned a hole straight through it. Devastating. But with a steamer you don't have to worry about that. As well as you can use steamers for wig styling as well. It's probably one of the best heat tools that I tend to lean towards when I'm wig styling. So yeah, little portable steamer. Get it. Does the cosplay you're buying for want to experiment with different makeup looks? You could get them some fancy eyelashes or specific makeup that they're running out of, or maybe even look into some nice face paints. I know Snazaroo is a really budget friendly one and they come in a variety of colours, but for convention days they do tend to rub off and smudge. So if there's a character that they tend to do a lot, for example like Steven Universe, and they need a really sturdy body paint, you could get something really substantial for them and I think they would really appreciate that. You could get them a tripod and ring light. That's really great for like starting out home shooting. I know when the weather gets colder you can't really go out and do photo shoots and things like that, so it's always handy to have something to help light when the days get darker and take pictures on your phone and all that. It's just a little bit of fun things you can do when the time of the year is not so warm and nice. If you're really unsure about what to get them, a gift card goes a long way. You could look at ones for maybe a local fabric shop or local businesses and support those as well. I would avoid pre-buying specific fabrics because A, you don't know the length they're gonna need for each cos-plan they have, and B, as a cosplayer that creates their own cosplays, I want to be able to like feel the fabric and pick the choices myself, because that's one of the most fun parts about it. I would also recommend avoiding buying people contact lenses because there's some brands which are not safe. You don't want to put something that's not safe in your eye. That's really dangerous. You can go blind. Along with avoiding buying them pre-bought cosplays unless you're like certain this is what they want. A lot of places online or like on eBay and things like that, they will buy from cheap sellers and then sell them on eBay for like £100 when it's just like a £20 costume. You don't want to get ripped off yourself and you don't want to get disappointed when something arrives and it's made of like tissue paper. So unless you really know where they want to get this cosplay from, I would recommend avoiding buying them a cosplay straight out. Moving a little bit up the price ladder, you could look into getting them a nice base wig for the next cosplay. You can get okay-ish wigs on places like Amazon and AliExpress, but you could treat them to something really lovely like a thick Coscraft wig or Arda wig, you know, like the kind of expensive wigs that not all of us really want to shell out for, like, you know what I mean? Whether that's for a future cos plan that you know they have, or just something that can be pretty universal, like a brown wig like this, a blonde wig, a pink wig if they do a lot of like magical girly characters. Next, you could look at something a bit more along the lines of storage for their cosplays, or you could gift them something in a storage box, like some drawers that are semi-empty but you've put like some bits in them. That's really handy. Like you can buy all these cosplay things and then sooner than you know it there's just like a pile of things and it's like, I don't know where to put these. So little storage containers which you can label for like each character, or little storage bags, they're really handy and they go a long way. I like to put all of my like crafty bits in one drawer, my sewing bits in another, and like other face paints and things, you know what I mean, like have it organized, and it makes getting into cosplay a lot more of an enjoyable experience if your world is organized. Easier said than done, but like sometimes little organization kits is something you don't really want to buy yourself, but to get it as a gift is like, oh yeah, I have that now, I don't have to buy it myself. But going back to the hamper idea, you could always put a hamper in an organization box, so you have the box and all the goodies in it. For any prop making pals, you can get them a little Dremel and some extra Dremel heads. Those are really handy for just elevating your props. Anything made with EVA foam. Along with that, a heat gun goes a long way. They're really handy to work with foam. If you want to splurge on someone that wants to get into wig styling, you could get them a nice wig styling head, a nice canvas one. I don't even have one of these. I don't know which ones are good. I just use the polystyrene ones, but hey. But something I do use with my wigs is a crimper. They are so great for getting volume in your wigs and just making them a bit more personalized. The crimper I have has removable plates, And I would really recommend getting one like that because it has a flat one, so it can work as a straightener and a crimper. Are they getting into photography? You could get them some props or a backdrop so they could shoot at home. You can get a variety of backdrops on places like Amazon. Just give it a little Google. Do they want like a snowy field, a jungle? Do they want it to be like a school photo? Do they want just like a plain black or white backdrop? For props, you could get something like fake plants to pop around or to like hold, like a bubble machine. I know some people use like those bubble guns, like, that are really cool. You could get like tripods, lights. Those little portable LED lights are really handy. You can get them as like a long stick, or you can get them as a little one. I do have a little one, and they're really good to just like pop in your bag and take to cons, because you never know if the sun goes down, you're like, I wish I had lights to take pictures. Or tripod wise, you could get something really lightweight that they could take to con. If they do a lot of TikToks, that's a really handy thing, because sometimes it's like, I want to film a TikTok, but there's nowhere to put your phone down, and you have to give it to your friend, and then they're awkwardly like, yes, but they're holding it so you can see the front cam, you know? What is that? You want to spend even more money? Well, I've got you covered. Here's some big spending ideas. So the person you're buying for, they're a prop maker, they're a wig stylist, but they have everything you can think of. Do they have an airbrush? Airbrushes can be used for makeup, crafting, wig styling, props. I wouldn't recommend using it for makeup if you're using it for crafting, but you can do that. It's like a whole different side of a craft that you can learn. I'm still getting used to using an airbrush. I've had one for like a year and I'm just like still nervous to use it, but it's fun to use. But it's such a different element of crafting to learn how to use it well. It's so different to just like holding a paintbrush. A sewing machine. There's so many cosplayers that I know that want to get into the crafting side of cosplay instead of just buying their own, but sewing machine prices are just so expensive. You can look into getting them a specific sewing machine or a serger if they already have a sewing machine. I think one of the most useful things I have for creating my cosplays is an adjustable dress form. It has elevated my sewing game. I feel way more confident creating cosplays that I can see on a dress form in my size in front of me. Personally, I just got mine cheap on Facebook Marketplace. It is a little bit falling apart, but it works. But yeah, if getting an adjustable dress form is really out of the budget, you could always get a standard size one. They do them in like UK 6, 10, 8. Why did I say it in that order? 6, 8, 10, for example. And you could always get a slightly smaller one and then add padding in specific areas to kind of match the user, if that makes sense. And then add fabric over top of that so it's hidden. So you could make your own custom dress form. Does that make sense? There's probably some tutorials out there. The last expensive thing I've noted down is a 3D printer. I don't really have much experience 3D printing. I've made props that have been 3D printed by someone else. But yeah, I don't know much about 3D printers, but I know they're pretty big. But they're pretty fun. You can make your own like 3D models online and then print them using like plastic filament, and people can make props. It's just a fun little thing. You can use that for more than just cosplay. Like, you could print a little sculpture. What is that? The person you're buying for isn't crafty and they don't want to learn to sew or make props or wigs. That's fine. I think gift cards are probably your way to go. You could get a nice wig gift card, a gift card for a specific a good cosplay website. One of my favorites I usually purchase from is like Mick Costumes, because they're usually quite decent pricing and good quality for what you get. But there are lots of popular cosplay websites. I can put some on screen. I don't know if any are problematic or anything. I don't buy many cosplays, so let us know in the comments if there's any specific websites that do cosplay gift cards and things like that you would recommend and not recommend buying from. Is there a cosplay that they already own but they don't have the character shoes for? Character shoes can be pretty expensive and very uncomfortable if you buy them from the wrong place. And it's also something that isn't usually like at the top of the list because you're not always taking full body pictures of your cosplay and things like that. I would recommend avoiding things on eBay which are like, get these specific Genshin shoes. The majority of my like platformy, comfy Cosplay shoes I get are from Koi Footwear. They're like a vegan shoe brand in the UK. I get like my generic like platform boots or like my little platform white idol shoes from there. They're pretty affordable, they're lightweight, and they're really comfortable. I can go a whole day at a convention in them without needing to change. Are you buying for someone that has a really strong special interest for a specific character or show? Because boy, you get them an eater bag or some charms along with it, or if they already have an eater bag, there's never enough. I got to the point where I didn't have enough space on this eater bag, so instead of buying a whole other bag, I started making my own little inserts. If you want to see a little tutorial for these, I could make one at some point, but they're a little janky, but like, you can make little inserts and you just slide them in and out of the bag. If they're not into little charms and things like that, are they more of like a figure collector? You can get them a figurine. Is there a con coming up before their birthday or Christmas or whatever you're buying for? You could look into supporting some local businesses. There's also people in the artist alley that create such wonderful work, and it's always nice to support them. I buy a lot of my gifts from the artist alley to friends. It's very cute. If con season is over, you could also find them on like Etsy or their personal websites. You could ask some friends being like, hey, what artists do this kind of merch? But be careful of Etsy because there's a lot of reselling on Etsy at the moment, so it could be fake merch or something that has been stolen from an artist re-uploaded onto Etsy, so be really careful where you buy from and support the original artists. If they're into like a popular media, you could get them a little blind bag, or like, for example, I like Miraculous, you could get them a little plushie or a doll or something little Miraculous. But yeah, that is my little cosplayer gift guide. Let me know in the comments below, is there anything I missed or you think would be a good ad for a little gift, a little hamper? Who knows? If there's anything you can think of, let me know in the comments down below. Also, a big thank you to my Patreons. I really appreciate your support. If you want to go check out my Patreon, I have multiple tiers. They start out at $1 and go up from there. So if you want to see any more behind the scenes, let me know. You can also check out my Instagram and my TikTok and all that kind of things. Drop me a little subscribe. Bye guys! I forgot to put my little Christmas lights on. They are a bit noisy. Merry Christmas.